Now it's great monsoon weather here in Goa, not the best to shoot in, but we're here for a purpose. We're here to test drive the Tata Zest. Now this eagerly anticipated car is one that Tata are pinning all their hopes on. Does it have what it takes to bring them back into the race? Well, that's what we're going to find out. Tata's sub-4 meter sedan is quite contemporary looking, especially when you compare it to the very outdated looking cars we're used to seeing from them. It has some nice styling touches. The front has chrome accent lines along the grille and the wraparound projector headlamps. There are the very distinguishable LED daytime running lights in the place one is used to looking for the fog lamps. And there are two contour lines along the bonnet that are to indicate what Tata like to call a power bulge. From the side you can tell the Zest has carried over the windows from the Vista, but Tata designers have done a fairly good job of pasting on the stubby boot. And there are LED tail lamps as well. It's not a design that will wow you, but is definitely with the times and something you wouldn't mind living with. Step inside the Zest and you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a whole lot different from anything you've seen from Tata before. Fit and finish has really improved. Even the textures of materials used inside the car are much better, especially things like the dashboard where the plastic is much softer to the touch, less shiny. Yes, there still are some shiny bits like the lower part of the dash and the door panels, but honestly you can't complain. It's a really refreshing interior to be in. Everything is nicely laid out. And the top end spec is very well equipped too. The instruments are attractive with their dual 3D effect wedge-like markers. The 8-speaker Harman system has really good sound quality, and there is quite an advanced infotainment system that is from Harman too. Well, the future world's all about communication and staying connected. That's what Tata claim they've done with this infotainment system. They've really tried to take the game forward and offer you a lot that's never been seen in this segment. For example, you have a touch screen so you can change stations. You have your AC controls even on the touch screen so you can increase the fan, you can decrease the temperature, you can change the modes, all on touch screen. Or you can also use voice command to do the things. Say you're driving, you want to change the radio station. Change to 93.5 FM.
The audio source is not available. Say the audio source.
So you see that? There's a certain set of preset commands. It won't understand me unless I say it exactly like it needs to be heard. Tune to 94.3 FM.
Tuning to 94.3 FM.
Well, it's not the best, but it does function and it'll take a little bit of getting used to. But what I really don't like is the fact that, even on an overcast day like this, there's so much glare on the screen that it's really hard to see most of the things on it. Other than that, the Zest has some storage spaces in the glove box, the central console, the door pockets and under the seat. But there really isn't space for a large bottle in the door pockets, and we did miss the seat back pockets as well. Though there still are some rough edges and panel gaps that could be improved, quality overall has taken a quantum leap forward. On the performance front, the Zest has two engines, a diesel AMT and a Revotron petrol motor, which I drove first. The Revotron has 89 bhp and 14.27 kgm of torque. This 1.2-litre motor has been newly developed and will be carried through many of Tata's future products. So at first impressions, well, the Revotron engine feels smooth, refined. Going over bad sections of road, the suspension's working away silently. In fact, the whole cabin feels well insulated. It's nice and silent in here. So refinement levels, good. This Revotron engine is actually quite happy to run around in city traffic, but it doesn't like to be rushed. you can't really push it hard. It's better to have a lighter foot on the throttle and then it works much better. What I'm trying to say is don't really mash the throttle down all the way to the floor. Use it halfway and the Zest responds much better. The 1.2 Revotron has a lot of promise when you first set off. It's very smooth, path throttle responses are not bad, so you expect a lot more. And although it's quite drivable in regular city conditions, it falls short out on open stretches of road and overall feels underpowered. Now this engine works in 3 different modes. There's Eco, for those who are worried about fuel efficiency and the daily dip in the wallet. There's the City mode, and there's Sports mode, where you do get a little more out of the performance. Full-page newspaper ads have hyped the Revotron engine as being 3 motors in one. The truth is that it was hard to really distinguish between these 3 modes, and we came away disappointed. The differences are so marginal, they could as well have not been there. Especially the difference between City and Sport. You expect it to get much livelier in Sport mode, but you still find overtaking maneuvers difficult, and it feels like the motor only wakes up when it wants to. As long as the motor is spinning above 2000 RPM, you're fine, but once it drops below that, you will have to work the gears to get a quick move on. The diesel AMT named F-Tronic by Tata, on the other hand, is an engine that is refreshingly pleasant in contrast. This 1.3-litre engine puts out 89 bhp and 20.39 kgm of torque. Now the diesel version comes with an auto, which is an AMT like we saw in the Celerio. If you're looking for a car for the city, then the diesel auto does the job really well. It makes driving light and easy. You don't have to work the gears at all. It does really well in traffic conditions. And you can nip in and out of the gaps. It's only when you want to make an urgent move or get a quick overtake that you do feel its shortcomings. You know, it will get ahead, but then it shifts up a gear so early that you find yourself out of power. You can circumvent this, however, by using the Tiptronic mode, which does hold a gear for longer. Though the gearbox shifts cogs down quickly, the engine doesn't serve up power as fast. So, in the regular mode, with its tendency to upshift at an early 3500 RPM, you find it struggles a bit, especially on inclines. However, there is an option. There is a sport mode on this gearbox, and at the press of a button, the responses get quicker, it holds a gear for longer, and it definitely makes this better to drive. So open stretches or ghat sections, the sport mode definitely felt better. Now back in the petrol, what also impressed us on the winding sections of road was the way the Zest took corners. The steering of the Zest is quite nice. It's light and easy to use in the city. But on a twisty, windy section of road, it weighs up quite well, feels responsive, points the car exactly where you want it to go, and gives you enough feedback. The body control is impressive and the car goes round corners, giving you a sense of confidence. Grip levels are good, and even at high speeds, the Zest feels stable and planted. It's only on an undulating road that it does tend to pitch a bit. Now, even though Goa's roads are not as bad as our Bombay ones, we've got a fair bit of a chance to test the Zest's ride qualities over some bad sections of road. And I have to say that I have been thoroughly impressed. It's flat, it's composed, and it still has a nice soft and pliant edge to its ride quality, so you always feel comfortable in this backseat. It really is quite remarkable the way the Zest dispatches bad roads, and the ride handling package is one of its most impressive aspects. And it's not only about ride quality, this backseat is spacious. You have ample legroom, a nice wide bench, third person can get in easily with a pretty flat floorboard, and headroom is good too. It feels nice and airy. So long journeys in the Zest will be comfortable ones for sure. So the Zest scores well on many counts. But although the Revotron motor is the one that's really new, it isn't the one that impressed us. The diesel AMT is the one that will take the game forward for Tata. With our market leaning towards diesel, this will be the only diesel auto in its segment. And even as far as performance goes, it's the one that pleased us more.
Well, this is definitely a huge leap forward from anything else we've seen from Tata before. And it's impressed us on many counts, be it the refinement levels or the ride and handling that are quite exceptional. Of course, there are the time-honored issues of Tata like fit and finish, which when you look closely are not up to global standards. But they still are definitely a huge step forward. It's a practical, spacious car, and it may not be a game changer in the segment, but it definitely has the potential to put Tata back in the game.